Right guys, welcome back to me taking things to bits, once again for absolutely no good reason. What we have here now is a 6-hour P250 CO2 powered 177 air pistol. Nice chunky piece of kit, fits the hand well. One piece moulded body with metal slide. This one's in for some custom Cerakote work on it. Surprisingly, what I couldn't find at all on the internet was any information on takedown. So would you want to take it down? I think a lot of people do like to fiddle, and the last thing I would want people to do is to get this out of the packaging and start trying to rag away on things, trying to take it to bits and break it. It's a nice piece of kit. It's very reasonably priced, and it's good to be able to go home and take it to bits and clean it, lube it up and put it back together. So here we go. Tools needed. I have a 2mm punch. I have a 1.6mm punch, and I have a crosshead screwdriver. I'm not going to use the actual handle of the screwdriver because the screws in it shouldn't be that tight, so it sort of discourages people from over tightening them and putting them back together. The gun is in a safe state. I can check that. I know for sure there's no air cylinder in it. Take the mag out, just depress the mag release and out it shoots. Cracking. And you'll notice on the side what would be the slide release lever it doesn't move. If you try and move it, there's a chance you're going to damage the plastic moulded body. Looking around, there's absolutely no other way of dismantling the slide. Take your smaller of your two punches, and sorry, forgot to mention the good old hammer. I couldn't find a smaller one. I think I may have eaten it, or the dogs run off with it. I did get hungry last night. At the front of what would be the slide release, there is a small split pin. All I'm going to do is tap it, and I mean gently tap it. Golden rule: if you have to hit something too hard, then you're hitting it wrong. Turn it over, got a pair of grips, and just take out that pin. Simple enough. I usually strip these things, especially the air pistol varieties, on a piece of white paper for obvious reasons. Now when you turn it upside down, immediately a little plunger will fall out. Now that you've got it to that stage, we can go to cock it, and you'll see that the slide will lift up and come away from the body. There's nothing scary going to jump out and run across the workshop at this point. So basically you've ended up with your metal slide and your spring. The spring does seem to be tighter at the breech end, so remember that when you put it back together, which is obviously the reversal of everything I'm doing now. Now, number two is the pin just behind, once again, what will be the slide release lever. We're just going to tap that out with the larger of the punches. Very light taps again. Got to remember you're dealing with a moulded plastic body here, so it's always better to err on the side of caution. So that pin comes out, so we've removed two pins, and then finally at this stage, just above the pistol grip, the last of the retaining pins. Use the right size punch, guys, because if you don't, once again you're going to end up either jamming the punch in there, or worst case scenario, with these being actual split pins, you could go down the inside of one and tighten it up and render it staying there for good. So there's 3 pins out. The 2 rear ones are the same size, length, outside diameter. The front one is a little bit shorter and quite a bit thinner. At this point, the actual mechanics of the pistol are now free to come out of the body. Now what I've done, my left thumb, excuse the grubby fingernails, I've just been doing some work. My left thumb was holding on to the safety catch, because that is the only thing that can fall out. There's a little retaining hole underneath the safety catch that slides over the top of that. You will do the same when you put it back in. You'll hold that, okay? Otherwise it'll go on the floor. There is a spring in there, but it does seem to be fairly solidly held in to the mechanics of it, so it's not going to come flying out. This part is loose, but until I've actually removed it from the main body, it's not going to cause any damage or harm, and it ain't going to go for a trumble. Push the trigger backwards and out your action comes, okay? To me now at this point, that's a one piece affair. That's loose, you can't really go wrong putting that back in, because it slides down 2 cutouts to get it in there. But that's the little thing that held your sliding brace prior to taking it off the gun. There's nothing on the left hand side of the mechanism that can fall out or go adrift when you take it to bits. How it would get dirty, I'm not 100% sure, but there's plenty of places in here where you could maybe improve the action and improve the mechanism and firing of it with maybe a Teflon spray or a bit of Ballistol, nice bit of lubricant in there, give it a clean. Your trigger mechanism, your springs, etc. you could do with a bit of grease. I do notice that there is a little tiny bit of grease in here and in here and around your actual hammer. Maybe we could improve on that. But that, to me, that's the easiest air pistol I've ever stripped. In the actual body, should you be interested in changing the colour of this, you have the false end of the slide release, which is basically a little tiny piece of steel that will just push out. Once again, that can't go back in wrong. It just simply clicks in, and the outside of it on the right hand side of the gun, if we can just possibly zoom, it's not doing too well, it has a little bit shaved off the top of it that points upwards, and your false slide release catch, just take hold of the top, put your fingernails in and bend it downwards, and out that comes. Just fits in the reverse manner. The last but not least would be the mag release, for which I'm going to use the aforementioned crosshead screwdriver. Put it into the right hand side of what is now left of the body, and that screw should be nice and loose in there. Put your finger over that when the screw's completely out, and inside there you'll see the left hand side of the release and a spring. These will only go in, it's like a pear drop shaped hole, they will only go in one way, so once again, rebuild is just reversal. There's your little screw that I've just loosened off, and then the only other thing to take out is the right hand side of the mag release. Hopefully, obviously you've saved this video now, you've seen it, and rebuild is the exact reverse Warranty wise, have you voided it by taking it to bits? I'm not sure. I don't retail the product, but messing around with it to try and up the power, I'm not going to advise anybody to do anything like that. Apart from anything, if it goes over a certain foot per second, it's illegal. If you do want to set about changing the colour of the body or the slide, it's not really rocket science from here on in. So I hope you found that useful. I think it's the only strip on YouTube at the moment. So thanks for watching, and don't forget winter's coming. Be good. Goodbye.